Hello, everyone, and welcome into Grip Locked, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor. And before we get into today's episode, we want to take a moment to thank the sponsor, Manscaped. Autumn is in the air, the pumpkins are in the patch, and our friends at Manscaped are here to make sure you don't carve your pants pumpkins when you're grooming, if you know what I'm saying. Make sure you're keeping things fresh this fall with the leaders in male grooming in their brand new 4th generation performance package. Join the 2 million men worldwide using Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code GRIPLOCKED.
It's time to bundle up with the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies.
Don't forget, after trimming your pumpkin patch and whacking them leaves, give your balls a boost with the Crop Reviver. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to the performance package that Trevor just mentioned, the boxers and the shed travel bag. That way you can remain comfy and cozy no matter where you find yourself this fall. Don't forget to get 20% off and free shipping with the code GRIPLOCKED. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code, one word, GRIPLOCKED. Make your balls a priority this fall and choose Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. Huge shout out to Manscaped for being an ongoing supporter of this podcast.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Love supporting brands that support disc golf. But let's get into the Music City Open. Happened this past weekend. The National Tour finale in more than one way, but we'll talk about that later. On MPO side, we had Mason Ford winning it in a playoff over Ricky. Adam Hammonds came in third. On FPO, we had Haley King winning by 3 over Sarah Hokum. And then Macy Veladiez, previously Macy Walker, came in third.
She got married.
I would assume. Her name just randomly changed.
To what?
Veladiez.
And it used to be Macy Walker. And
Macy
you're
Walker.
sure it's the same person?
Yes, because I had to process payout through PayPal for the Battle for Bedford, and I had to send it to Macy Walker's email, and it really threw me for a loop because I knew Macy Walker was at the tournament, but then it said Macy Veladiez. So I think we're out of the loop. I'm assuming because there was another player, I believe his name was Jamie, in the MPO with the same last name. So I'm assuming they got married, but I don't know that for sure. So don't take that for fact. But
that happened,
one thing I do know for sure is this Ricky conspiracy I'm about to put up. No, I'm just kidding. I am going to put the Ricky conspiracy up. I don't know it for sure. Here's my conspiracy. So if you didn't see the playoff, basically, hole 18, Ricky and Mason come in tied. They both birdie hole 18, go to hole 1, one of the easiest holes in the courses.
Yes.
Mason parks it first shot. Ricky turfs his forehand to about 50 feet. And then threw the most un-Ricky putt we've ever seen in our lives.
Well, to be fair, Ricky of late has been a little iffy on the putting greens.
But from 50 feet,
I missed Home Dog. This guy literally missed a tap in at Music City. So I don't.
Here's my conspiracy. I think Innova paid Ricky to miss in order to help establish Mason's career. I think this goes back to hole 18. If you watch hole 18...
It would make sense with how embarrassing bad he missed, because it's kind of hard to miss on purpose when you're that good, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. I think on hole 18, he tried to miss, but he was too good. So that's why he hit high. He was trying to hit band. He hit just below
maybe
band.
Maybe it's because he always putts high, though?
And it felt... No.
Okay.
Hole 18, he tried to miss high. He was too good. He tried to miss high, and it just fell in. He's like, dang it, I'm too good. I can't keep making these putts because eventually Mason's going to mess up, and then I'm going to end up winning. And so he went to hole 1, turfed his drive.
Do you think the payment came in as he was walking to his drive, though? Because I think he would have messed his drive up.
No, I think it was going into the final day. The Innova told him get in contention and then do whatever necessary to make sure Mason wins.
So why?
So we're lucky that Adam Hammonds didn't get in the way or something, because that might have been a lead pipe situation. We're lucky. We're lucky that it was just Mason.
I don't know. Can you go ahead and explain why they should have had Mason Ford to win before you sound like a complete cuckoo?
Well, just so to establish Mason's career. Okay. Mason's a young up-and-coming player. Ricky's already established. They can both go into a playoff. And then Ricky, again, he's too good. It's like when you have a really good basketball shooter, and they go to the free throw line, they're supposed to miss, and it's really hard for them to hit the rim and not have it go in.
Yes,
that's what we saw. It's really hard for Ricky to try to miss, so he had to lay up 10 feet shy of the basket. And
I just want to be clear. I don't agree with this.
I don't know about the validity of this theory, but I really like it.
I think it's
very entertaining.
It is paper thin.
In all seriousness, though, big moment for Mason Ford. Big moment for Mason Ford.
Yeah, he's kind of been due for a win.
Huge Elite Series win for him. He was the Rookie of the Year back in 2018. I saw a lot of people saying, who the heck is Mason Ford? I think it's just players who've gotten into the game. This is his first year fully on tour. He's been touring with the Mandahano sisters and their family this year. So we've seen him out there quite a bit. He has very Bradley Williams-esque form, like super smooth, super compact, like a very repeatable backhand form.
Yeah, he's good.
I really like him. I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anyone when we start seeing his name more and more. I don't think he quite has like elite level distance.
No.
There's some courses that unfortunately he's just not going to be able to compete at. But when you get him on the right course, I think he's got the rest of the game to be able to compete at the top level, as we just saw this weekend. And yeah, Ricky actually put it out on Twitter, debunked my conspiracy theory. He must have heard the conspiracies.
It was floating around for a while.
He just
there.
said, guys, it was just a really bad time to have a bad putt. Is basically what he said. So whether you want to believe that or you want to believe Innova paid him
Ricky,
off, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
Ricky.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see. I will say it was very un-Ricky-like to see him miss the putt that bad, but I think it just like fell out of his hand or something weird timing
That
happened.
KC Plastic slick.
Some people were like legitimately trying to argue that he was laying up to put pressure on Mason Ford's 2-footer. And I'm like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
that'd be pretty silly.
That's ridiculous.
Like, I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, as if he can't run the putt and then make the
I'm like,
comebacker.
Ricky was 55
He's not like
feet
us
away.
guys. He can make the 10-foot comeback.
Yeah, and he's also at a very good % chance of making that 55-footer.
I would
I
say
think he just fell out of
I would
his
say
hand.
he's got like a 70% chance.
Yeah,
if not
that's what I'm
higher.
saying. Something weird just happened to where it just fell out of his hand. It's probably that paycheck from Innova hit his bank at the same time. I don't know. But the other weird thing that no one's been talking about, I might have just missed something, but I noticed it for one reason only. Last week, we talked about the purse because Haley King had brought it up on her story, called it out, and I had screenshotted her story for us to talk about it on the podcast because there was that slight purse change going on last week where like they raised the MPO leader and lowered the FPO leader. You can listen to last week's podcast if you want to hear that. But I went back and looked at it because I was kind of confused. So the total purse as of the day before the tournament last week was $52,315.
Right.
Players were complaining because there was only like $10,000 added to the National Tour finale. The Pro Tour came out, announced their Pro Tour finale with $250,000 purse on the day the National Tour started. Probably one of the more savage things to happen in disc golf.
Yeah.
But irrelevant to this part of the story. But then, after all this complaining stuff goes on, the actual payouts get posted. I noticed that Mason Ford took home $7,500. And I was like, that's a lot higher than I
Pretty good
remember.
payday, huh?
I was like, that's a lot higher than I remember talking about last week's podcast. And so then I looked at it, and the actual payout ended up being $76,000 purse. $24,000 higher.
Yeah, it's a big jump. Slimy.
So much like Worlds, this is just weird to me because the projected payout got posted and $26,000 wasn't there. Or $24,000.
We suspected at Worlds that the backlash is what led to the significant purse raise, even though they claimed it was like continued. It was a little bit weird the way the money was added to the purse, and PDJ claimed things, and everybody was like, it kind of seems like they just kind of had the money sitting around.
Yeah, well, the PDJ, the PDJ, like day 3 of Worlds, just added $40,000 to the purse.
Yeah.
It was due to continued effort of our volunteer staff, and I'm like,
but there was no mention that it was ever going to happen.
And there's no
that's
mention.
Something, that's something you would talk about. Here's the thing that makes this one even weirder is that only, as far as we know, and maybe the players were louder directly to the PDJ, but as far as we know, like that Haley King post was kind of like the bulk of it. And obviously there were people.
Well, I saw a lot of posts about like, is there really only 10,000 added to the National Tour finale?
And there were posts.
I saw
about
some
the
people
event.
calling it a B tier.
It wasn't as
stuff like
loud.
that.
It wasn't as loud as Worlds though.
No, because it wasn't a major.
Yeah. So, but
But I would say that this was the loudest complaints we heard for a national tour all year.
Yeah, but and it's very like,
That's what's weird to me.
a little
is
sus that like
both
all of a sudden
times-
$24,000 is whoop.
both
thrown in
times
there.
we've seen a PDGA name tied to an event, and there's been backlash from players, money magically appears in the purse.
Yeah. It's like whenever you like your kid is like pestering you and you just are like, here's $10 now, be quiet and go find something to do. It's like that's what they're doing to
my
us.
biggest thing, because every time we bring this up, it's like, guys, are you kidding me? You'll find a way to complain about everything, you freaking idiots. More money got added to the purse. And I'm like, that's not what I'm complaining about.
That's what they want.
I'm
you
not
to
even
do,
complaining.
though.
I'm just asking if there was $24,000 that could have been added to this purse.
Yeah.
Why wasn't it in there
Right.
at first?
That's the
what
problem.
I'm asking. Is if no one had complained, where is that money going?
It seems like what's happening is there's this money set aside.
Realistically, it could have doubled their youth outreach from 2 years ago, apparently, according to the guy that called into debate night.
If everybody just is quiet, then maybe everybody in the staff takes home a nice bonus. But
yeah, I don't know
if people complain, then we just have to throw it in the purse.
That's what I'm saying. Is where is that money just coming from, like their savings account? And they're just like, all right, well, look, people are complaining. You think 20,000 will shut them up? Yeah, write the check, Steve. All right. But if it's that easy, then why did the tournament only have 10,000 added to begin with? Is my question. I don't know. Weird stuff. But that wasn't even the only issue. That was I don't even know if players, I haven't even heard talk about that at all. I just noticed it when I was looking at Haley King's Instagram story again. But there was players were pretty vocal about some FPO issues. The temp baskets that we briefly brought up last week were fully confirmed just shortly after the show. Haley King posted them on her story. And then also, if for some reason you still don't believe it, just go watch Jomez's flyovers and you can see the temp baskets.
They were there
in the flyovers for the entire coverage. One of them, hole 4, I think was it Mill Ridge? Was that the second course?
Yes,
the name of it? It was Mill something. Hole 4 out there, it's literally just one of those pop-up scout baskets.
No.
Yeah, that has single it's meant to be we take it to the beach for a day and throw it up a fun basket. And that was what the FPO had to practice on leading up to the tournament.
As far as it wasn't just PVC poles in the ground, here's where the pin's going to be, throw near it.
Yeah. And so Haley King called out the PDGA with the same thing we were saying last week, and she was basically saying the same thing of this wouldn't happen to MPO. And to me, it's just a bad look that the PDGA, the FPO is kind of an afterthought here. Because it was
it's very obvious.
The basket's got to go in the MPO position. Hey, local club, anyone got a pop-up basket we can throw up for the FPO? Not a good look there. Secondary thing.
Yeah, at that point, you just don't change the layout. If you don't have the resources to make it happen, you just got to play
That's what I was saying, is you either have FPO just play the same layout as MPO, or just move the tee up. Yeah. If for some reason you, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that could have been done other than just a pop-up basket.
Yeah, that's not.
But then that also meant that some of the baskets had to be moved, and there were times during the tournament where it didn't get done in time for the FPO to tee off on the hole. Now this story is kind of a he said, she said moment, because Paige posted on her Instagram story during her round. I think Paige was one of the first cards out after the cut. Sounds weird to say out of my mouth, but that's what happened. Paige barely made the cut. So Paige posts on her Instagram story.
What's wrong with Paige?
And she was it was her and Holly Finley. And she was like, Holly, we just threw our drives. We're about to throw our upshot, but where are we supposed to throw to? And panned over to Holly Finley. She goes, I don't know. The basket's not in yet. I guess we'll just have to wait and see if they move it. And so apparently they had already teed on this hole, and then it was a par 4, and they were going to throw their upshot, but the basket was still in the MPO position, had it moved to the FPO position, so they had to sit in the fairway and wait for someone to move it. People from the tournament fired back and were like, what are you guys talking about? You had caught the MPO bottom card or lead card, and basically they were still putting out on the hole, so of course we couldn't have moved it yet.
That's a tough
Whether or
one.
not that's true, it's like I said, that's a he said, she said moment. There was another instance that I heard from players who don't have as big a following as Paige, so day 1 and 2, or I guess it was day 3. Day 1 at that course, the very first FPO card out, I saw them posting on Twitter saying a similar thing, saying we just showed up to the tee and our basket's not in yet. And then it said, okay, 12 minutes later, someone just rolled up in a golf cart and fixed it.
I say it wouldn't surprise me if they were scrambling to try and get baskets moved.
But here's my thing.
Just play the same layout.
The same layout, or you shouldn't be in a position where you have to move baskets. And if you do, the person needs to be walking with the MPO lead card, and the second they tap out and walk away, boop, boop.
Yeah.
That's what they were claiming was happening, and they just said that basically the bottom FPO card caught the lead card.
If
so, I feel like Paige would have been a little bit more understanding of we're literally watching Paul tap out, or not Paul, Ricky and Mason and them tap out on the basket right in front of me. Of course, they haven't moved it yet. Maybe not, but I just thought it was just another thing that this whole basket debacle caused.
Basketgate, if you will.
Yeah. Was first off, they got to practice on marksman and scout baskets during the week, and then they show up to the tournament, and you got to move the basket back and forth. Not a good look. If this is a B tier or something, or even maybe a small A tier, sure, if you have to move the baskets, you have to move the baskets. It is what it is. This is a national tour.
The finale.
Like, you could have at least gotten, I think Dynamic Disc was the presenting sponsor. Surely they could have, for the national tour finale, driven out 18 veteran baskets as a practice thing.
Something.
And just like pulled them back after. So like, hey, at least the players get to practice on it. I'm not saying Dynamic Disc was aware of the situation and chose not to.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all. I would think if Dynamic Disc was aware of the situation, they would have chose to do so. I'm just saying someone could have found a solution better than what happened.
Yeah.
But one very bright spot from this was the official last national tour ever. Mason Ford will go down in the history books as the last player to ever win a national tour event.
Wow.
Because the PDGA has officially stepped down from running the national tour, and they have made the Disc Golf Pro Tour the official tour of the PDGA. Is basically the way they're wording it. More or less, it seems like the national tour events will get merged into the Pro Tour, and the Pro Tour will be able to pick and choose which ones they put on the full-on Pro Tour and which ones they slide down to the Silver Series. And the Pro Tour will work with the PDGA on even like new tour standards. In the article, tour cards were again mentioned in helping the Pro Tour to be able to actually enforce said standards.
Yeah.
Some form of meshing of the schedule is going to be going down. So to me, I mean, this is something that I think we literally titled our last podcast, "The Last National Tour Ever?" ?
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a long time.
It's been a long time coming. The PDGA did the right thing, pushed the national tour off their plate, and the Pro Tour is definitely the guys to take it over.
I think this is another. The PDGA has somehow positioned themselves yet again, like keeping themselves around, like by making themselves they somehow have made the Pro Tour the official tour of the PDGA, which is like pretty interesting because like the Pro Tour seemingly should have the upper hand, but I think what must be happening is the Pro Tour is probably getting all of their demands met by the PDGA, so they were probably okay with that, with this whole tour standards thing. Like they're going to allow them to bend the rules, which is probably one of the biggest issues, was them not being able to kind of use their own rule sets and do the tour cards and like the rating limit stuff. And then also, I think this is another case where the Pro Tour has just been very much, their approach to everything has been very much, let's not, make too much noise and make people mad. Let's try to keep all of disc golf happy as we progress forward, and let's do it slowly and carefully. And that's a valid strategy, and it's working. And I think this is just another case of that. But I do think yet again, now the PDGA has once again been given this position of relevance when like, what are they doing to deserve said relevance?
Well, yeah, that was one thing I was going to say, and it seems like they actually have heard, because tons of people have been questioning, like, what does the PDGA do? Like, now the national tour's over, what do they do? And so the PDGA put out like an article, I believe it was yesterday.
I think it's funny that people even thought, like, it's not wrong of you to assume that the national tour was like something on their plate, but I don't really think it was much on their plate, to be honest, the national tour events.
Yeah. The only one that I don't know what I was about to say, but they put out yesterday, like, basically, like, this is what your money is going towards, like an article about it, which was one of the points I was going to make, because I think the PGA just needs to be a little bit more clear and transparent of like exactly what benefits are to members, but not only to members, but like, you're paying us $50 a year. This is what it goes towards, type of a thing. The only thing I haven't liked is, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it quite yet. But whenever the PDGA is questioned, it's like they just double down, like they can't do any wrong.
Yeah, they never admit they're wrong, ever.
Like yesterday, the Nick and Matt show had like an emergency, whatever you want to call it. Not really an emergency, but basically like a pop-up show with Nate Heinold.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was all like the PDGA's like idea of like, yeah, we want to just test it out. And this could all be true, but we want to just test it out, let the Pro Tour kind of feel it out, and then just pass the reins on to the Pro Tour. They've been doing a good job. And the national tour, like, we were living up to our own tour standards, blah, blah, blah. And then they were also like, many times, this really irked me. Many times during it, he used the language of people were, like he was saying, people were asking, what does the PGA even do? He used the language many times of, well, last year we ran 6,000 events. We ran this. We ran many 6,500 tournaments. We ran like multiple times. Said
coming from some guys
ran tournaments.
Coming from some guys who just ran an event. Last weekend or whatever it was, 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
The only thing that PDGA had a hand in was the website that we used.
Yeah, they sanctioned the event.
Yeah.
And they answered questions if I had basically I couldn't do an island, so I had to work with them on a workaround for the island. But they didn't run the event. So you can say we sanctioned 6,000 events. We helped support TDs in 6,000 events who ran the event. But for some reason, I just get this weird feeling, and I can't put my finger on it, but every time a question comes up of because you can look at it with the National Tour with Worlds, it feels like the PDGA pushes blame onto the TDs at these big events. Yeah. And then when it comes to tournaments, the PDGA is well, we ran 6,000 tournaments. It just feels like the TD is just going the TD's not getting backup from the PDGA when it's that. In my head, that's the biggest thing they're there for, is to help back up and support TDs. Mm-hmm. That's one of the biggest things they're doing. And so to hear them say multiple times, we ran so many events, I'm all you did, you ran majors and you ran the national tour, and every one of those had a complaint. So thank goodness you didn't run 6,500 events last year.
Honestly. Yeah. It's pretty audacious to take claim for all those events. When, like I said, at this point in my mind, what the PDGA is really providing is they have a website and the infrastructure of basically the rating system and the sanctioning and the rules. They have it all set in place to where at this point, live scoring and everything kind of runs itself. They just kind of have to check boxes every once in a while and sanction events. But I just don't know what those guys are doing day to day. I don't know.
The people who actually work there full time.
Yeah, what is going on? Because that's when I think of the PDGA, that's just what I think about it. Maybe I'm dead wrong.
Probably just answering a lot of emails.
That's what I'm saying. I bet they answer a lot of emails, but that should be a few people's job. I don't know. The PDGA is just always
it's a mystery.
It's just one of those things where we've just kind of always accepted them as the governing body, but now that there's other big players like the Pro Tour, we're kind of questioning. Well, the Pro Tour does all this stuff for disc golf, so what are you doing? And I think that's why the Pro Tour is so great. Is because beforehand it was just well, it's PDGA, it's the top of the top. Those guys are they kind of run the sport. But now the Pro Tour is big, and we can see very clearly that A, they are making huge strides for disc golf, and B, that they are taking feedback and they are applying it to their tour.
Yeah.
Now we're okay, so why is the PDGA not doing it?
That was the other thing, is multiple times the PDGA has been basically said the players' feedback had nothing to do with this decision. They've been vocal, being hey, well, don't you think that the players' feedback had anything to do with us letting the Pro Tour take over?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a shame if we listened to our players as the players or
making
professional
that sound
disc golf
a
association?
bad thing.
Yeah. And then the secondary thing was they also have been very clear to remind all of us of well, don't you just go ahead and hating on the national tour? The Pro Tour would never exist without us. We formed the tour. Without the national tour, the Pro Tour doesn't exist. Almost being you better thank us for this.
Yeah.
I'm guys, just give it up, man.
It's
I understand. No one is sitting here saying that it wasn't crucial to have a national tour back in 2003 when it started through when the Pro Tour started. All we're saying is the Pro Tour took a tour, created its own tour. They didn't take national tour events and put them on the Pro Tour. They created their own tour, got outside funding, sold it to sponsors, and were able to run a much better product consistently for years to put the national tour out of business. Mm-hmm. Let's call it what it is. The national tour, if it was running and thriving, the PDGA wouldn't get rid of it.
Right.
The reason is it's probably become more of a headache than a benefit because of how good of a job the Pro Tour is doing.
There's no point anymore.
And the other side is they also were well, of course the Pro Tour is going to succeed. I think they have nearly 30 employees just focused on it. We have so much other stuff going on. We can't focus on a national tour. I'm the PDGA, you're bringing in $5 million something dollars a year.
If your tour was that self-sustaining,
alone,
you could hire the employees.
If you did the tour right and you sold it to the right sponsors, you'd be able to hire the employees and put the infrastructure in to run it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just that wasn't a priority to you because you were the only tour.
Right.
And so therefore you could just do it, and what are players going to complain about?
And the bottom line is the funding that the Pro Tour got to run for the first few years, that they could have attracted if the PDGA had a good product, they would have attracted that funding.
Well, yeah, let's look at it this way. The only reason the Pro Tour exists is because the National Tour wasn't doing its job.
Yeah.
Because why would the Pro Tour ever have started if the National Tour was killing it?
Right. It would have been.
Why would anyone be looking at it and go, well, players are going to play my tour? Because there would have been nothing to correct.
Right.
So let's look at it that way. Sure, the National Tour laid the foundation of there being a disc golf professional scene.
Yeah, and it's not like they invented the idea of like, hey, we have a sport that's golf related. Let's make a tour. Where'd you think of that one? Like, that's kind of just how it works.
I've been rubbed the wrong way many times by the PGA this year because I feel like this year has been the first year that I've seen players and other people talk out against the PDGA, and instead of having a, you know what, let's look into that, you might be right, or like apologetic attitude when they've been proven wrong, it's been a double down and push the blame attitude.
Yeah.
And I just don't like that. I hate that. That really annoys me. Like, if you messed up multiple times, own up to it. You stop pushing the blame around and saying, or like trying to remind people that you're big and bad, because pretty soon you're not going to be. If you keep that attitude up, then like people are going to get fed up. They already are. You can see it more and more and more online of people just getting sick of this attitude going around. And what's going to happen when a new governing body comes along? Because like you already did it with the tour. If you let the tour fall wayside, you had the National Tour from 2003 to 2016, I think is when the Pro Tour set up. You had 13 years to get that up to where the Pro Tour came in, and in 5 years surpassed it. What happens if a governing body is like, you know what, the PDGA is just doing X, Y, and Z bad. Let's just start a new sanctioning body.
Yeah.
And then if they do a better product, it's the free market. People are going to go where the better product is. I mean, it's just, to me, if I'm the PDGA, my number one priority is listen to the players, listen to the feedback, listen to what they want. And then if I mess up and I go against those things, be the first one to apologize, admit where we're wrong, and pivot to make it right. And that's not what I'm seeing at all.
Yeah, as a company that I keep hearing this every time we complain about the PDGA, people keep going, well, you are the PDGA. Like, elect who you want. You can elect who you want to elect, and blah. Like you PDGA is all of us. Like, no, it's not though. They don't listen to us. They're supposed to represent the players, and they do a really poor job representing the players, in my opinion. They basically say we're wrong every time we criticize.
Yeah, when the players criticize, we're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You didn't come talk to the one of 50 different people each every week that have staff on the back of their shirt?
Yeah.
Like, that's the first response is like, whoa. How dare you call us out publicly? That didn't feel good. Don't do that again. Like, what?
Like, if you want me to like feel any kind of like community with your company, then you need to
make us a part of it.
Yeah, and you need to take a stance of like, okay, we hear your complaint, that makes sense. We'll like at least like try to have some conversation.
Yeah, at least
instead
like
of just
see
being
a
like,
response
you're wrong.
of at least a response of like, you know what, that might be a good point. We'll look into it. Versus, well, actually, here's why you're wrong, and then let me show you why you're wrong, and never listen to your point in the beginning to even see it. That's why you see so many players boycotting national tour events this year and in the years past, and like refusing to play different things. Like Paige has said, like the only reason she showed up is because she didn't want to just hand Katrina Allen the Player of the Year. Right. Eagle, you didn't see him at national tour events after Worlds. Like, players were taking a stance multiple times this year, and the PDGA just continued to do the same things.
Yep.
And now, thank goodness, the Pro Tour's here to actually run a tour and listen to players and care about the players.
Wow. I felt like I was just in the audience of a slam poetry night.
You know, I literally, this segment, the first line in this was, I don't want this to turn to a PDGA hate segment. The PDGA is crucial to disc golf on the sanctioning and rules side. And then originally my next line was, but this better have been the last national tour we ever saw. And the next thing I know, I just went down a rabbit hole. And, you know, like they say, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And you can either apply that to me or the PDGA. Depends on which side of the fence you're on. Other thing at Music City that we have to go over real quick was our prize pick results. So last week we had our prize picks locked in. We'll be bringing that back out, the prize pick breakdown, next week at USDGC. But Trevor actually ended up hitting the power play and is at 5 points. I tied the under with Chris Dickerson, which means that I was basically doing a 2-player flex play, and I hit my remaining 2, so I'm sitting at 2 points, and Brody hit 2 of his 3 flex play for 1.25 points after week 1.
Bottom line is we were all winners, essentially.
We all technically won in a way.
Yeah.
Some of us played by the rules. Just kidding. It's been brought to our attention that So in Virginia, you can't actually lock your picks in yet.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get to the screen that would have told us that Trevor's picks wouldn't have been allowed because he took 3 overs.
You have to take
and you have to take
one
at
or the
least
other.
one or the other. So you have to have like an over and under, and then you can take the other one. But we're counting it because like we couldn't get to the screen and it's not listed in the rules. It only shows you an
And they've
error
also
message when you
said
go to
that
lock
for
it
next
in.
season, they said they're trying to get
Yeah,
rid
they're
of
probably
it
going
next
to
season,
change it back. But so we did get several people commenting about that. I think they were trying to like play with you and like have your same picks. And
I
then
wish
couldn't
you
lock it
could
in.
have.
Yeah, because Trevor hit the power play.
Yeah, because I hit the jackpot, so that's all right. I'll adjust accordingly next time, and my intuition was still right.
There you
So
go.
there you go.
Good job, Trevor.
Thank you. Pat myself on the back.
It's time to go back into one of our newest segments, Doink of the Week. I'm going to go ahead and let Connor start off this week. What's your Doink this week?
We've already talked about it a little bit, but it was too obvious for me not to choose it. And it also is probably a little bit insensitive. But my Doink of the Week was Ricky's putt. And really, more specifically, his inability to doink. Because he couldn't even get close enough to the basket to doink it.
That's funny.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah, so...
I mean, you would have doinked it too if you knew that big fat payday from Innova was
I
coming.
100% would have. I would have swallowed my disc.
Whoa. Let's let Trevor go next. I have to pull up a show and tell for my doink.
Oh.
Anyways, my Doink of the Week is mozzarella sticks.
Oh, I understand now.
Not from Sheets.
I understand. Now.
Both because there's been a shortage at Sheets lately, and because of the new hole 9 at USDGC that's been posted. Jordan Castro is kind of who we first saw it from. Probably the most pathetic hole design that I've ever seen. It's kind of like USDGC basically spat in our faces because let me just paint you in a scenario. Let me paint you in a scenario. You run a tournament or you're in charge of the course design.
Okay.
And one year you decide, let's be edgy and implement these wooden poles on a few different holes of the course. And everybody complains about them and nobody likes them. Every single person hates them. They think they're ugly, they're stupid, they're unnatural. So then you decide, let's not get rid of them. No. Let's wait a few years and let's make a hole that is now putting them directly in front of your face.
The big Moz, if you will.
Yeah, the big Moz. Directly in front of your face. I mean, it cracks me up even thinking about it. They're like, let's take more of them, put them right in front of a tee pad, and that's the hole. You just have to miss the sticks. Like,
I genuinely...
It's ridiculous.
So
Here's another
stupid.
conspiracy for you guys.
All right.
Please, I'm all ears.
I think that, again, it's Innova. Innova's big on these
Ricky is
conspiracies.
allergic to mozzarella sticks.
No. So he can't hit them. No. I think that Innova does it to get the press. Because they know if we put these mozzarella sticks,
but it's
our
negative
event's
press.
gonna blow up.
They could make a better hole.
No press is bad press.
They could make a better hole. Like there's
rule number 1 in media.
They could do
ask the
anything.
PDGA.
I just think it's like
But if they make a
comical.
perfect hole, who's posting about that?
What do you mean? We posted about all their perfect hole, like 17, 5. Like
Who's been talking about 17 or 5 this week?
What?
Nobody. Who's been talking about
The
hole
week of
9?
the tournament? People will be talking about it.
Everybody. But the week of the
No,
tournament is too late. They
dude.
need to sell pay-per-views.
No.
So now I literally saw this is what gave me the conspiracy theory idea. I saw comments saying, "Well, now I have to buy pay-per-view because I really want to see players."
Nobody in golf or disc golf runs tournaments with that mindset. That's evil. That's pure evil.
I'm
That's
just
what they're doing.
saying. Maybe they know it's bad course design. So they
Here's
put it
the
on a
thing
hole
about the
3. They put it on a par
mozzarella
3, and they're like, "Hey, this is going to cause some outrage, and then we're going to sell more tickets because people are going to want to see Nico and other players get ticked off when they slap a metal pole 2 feet off the tee."
The mozzarella sticks, for me too, like the funny thing about them is they originally put them on, I believe, 2 different holes. And the reason they put them there, they were like they were on the left or right side of the basket. And the whole idea was, let's add defense to this hole by essentially making players, like we're going to now make you throw your upshot to a different side of the basket.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
And so
that whole idea.
So the idea is noble, but here's a way you can do that without mozzarella sticks. It's called a bunker. It looks nicer and it also defends the hole. And it's like not giant poles with moss or like ivy that you wrap. That's the worst part, is that they wrapped the ivy around
They
it.
try to make it look natural.
And that makes it look worse. Like we already know it's a gimmick, so just like go all the way. Now, to be fair, this new
No,
one
what I
doesn't
was telling was we were talking about it with Brody on debate night the other night. was last night was I would have a problem with this whole design even if it were trees. Like even if it wasn't, even if it was natural.
It's
just I would say the trees need to be cut down.
I think it's just more shocking that like it's like they ran out of ideas and were like, just throw some poles in front of the D-pad and we'll just put the basket 300 feet away. Like there's just nothing. I can't believe it. Anyways,
I'm excited. We'll talk about our USDGC plans
I gotta
after
give
Trevor's trivia.
An honorary Doink of the week. Honorary Doink of the week goes to Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens for doinking his field goal off the bottom upright and then it going in, record-breaking 66
yarder.
So that was a good doink
For the win.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead with your freaking bull crap.
Well, okay, here's, for my doink of the week, I'm not going to explain it yet. I'm just going to play you a little segment from last week's podcast.
Go ahead.
I think what happened was they were at first just butchering match play terminology, saying things like a point when that's not a thing. You don't win a point, you win the whole. They were saying things like it's now 5.
So that's the start of my doink of the week. And then let me read you a tweet from Ryder Cup, Ryder Cup, would you agree that's like the pinnacle of match play in golf? Pretty high up there?
These days.
So Ryder Cup, the pinnacle of match play. Here's a tweet from the official Ryder Cup account. And with that, at John Rahm PGA grabs a point to bring the match tied through 3. So my doink of the week is Trevor coming after the Pro Tour match play for using the word point and refer to match play only for the Ryder Cup, the official match play Twitter account, to use point in the exact same fashion days later.
I have one response to this. Not everything you read on the internet is true. And I have the USGA official match play rules here. There's no mention of points. So they were also wrong. Like it doesn't, just because somebody tweeted it. I also scrolled through their Twitter and could not find any more uses in the incorrect use of the word point. Because in the Ryder Cup, for example, you can win a point by winning your entire match. Like that's a point for Team USA. But that's not what they were doing there. So they were still wrong. It doesn't, just because it's not a doink for me, I was still right.
All right, PDGA, let's calm down.
I'm just saying that's all I have to say is like I still
that's my doink of the week.
I'm correct in the sense of the rules of
all I'm
match
saying
play.
is how do you know Terry Miller hasn't been studying the Ryder Cup Twitter account?
Because Ryder Cup
and
happened
that's where he got all of his
tweet
motivation
was
from.
after.
And that's why he was calling it point because hey, he did exactly what you said. He looked at the Ryder Cup and then formed his whole thing around that.
The Ryder Cup happened after the.
It's time for our fan favorite segment,
after.
Trevor's Trivia. What do you have for me this week?
I don't know, dude.
Let's see if I can't win a point and bring it tied.
Every single time. He gets me so mad before Trevor's Trivia, and then I decide.
Maybe this is a conspiracy.
Yeah,
maybe he's doing it on purpose.
And was paying me, man.
No, I kind of decided to wing a little game between you and Connor this week.
Heck yeah.
Oh.
I think it would be
Clap it up.
So I found.
Thanks to the live audience for the participation.
I basically was looking through the USDGC field today because I was like, wow, like I forgot like how like exclusive the USDGC field is. Like it's pretty difficult to qualify and like the field stays pretty small. And like you were mentioning earlier, like the throw pink championship is all on the same course, so they have to keep the field relatively small.
Yeah.
So I've kind of decided, I think it's really funny putting you guys like on the spot, like rapid fire mode, because like sometimes your brains just break. So the way we're going to play this game is you are going to each have 3 seconds in succession to name a player that is in the USDGC field this year for the MPO or for the FPO.
Okay.
For throw pink for that, not USDGC. Now, the only way that somebody can lose is by A, running out of time, or B, the other person saying challenge, and then I'll look it up. I'm not going to look it up and double check you.
Okay.
Unless somebody says challenge. And if you say challenge and you're wrong, you lose.
Okay.
So you have to pick your moment, and you have 3 seconds. I'm going to have a timer
starting?
going. So I'm going to let...
Hunter starting.
Hunter is starting. All right. Ready? Mm-hmm. Go.
Paul Macbeth.
Ricky Wysocki.
Will Schustrick.
Brody Smith.
Steve Brinster.
That's
more 3 seconds, Shirley.
You lost. You could have thought of any pro.
That was the problem.
We're 3
It
pros
was too
in.
wide. It was too wide.
We're 3 pros in.
Come on.
I was such good potential.
I know.
Should we run it
Well,
back?
let's run it back.
I can't.
Double or
I'm
nothing.
too scared.
We're gonna run it
Put
back
something on the line.
one more time.
No.
You lose, you shave your beard. I don't know. Just throw it.
Let's run it back one more time. You got
Run it
this.
back. Come on. The fans
have
want
a
it.
strategy
Let's
this
do
time.
it. Let's do it. Connor.
All right,
They're out there.
I hear him. I'm ready.
All right,
All right.
Connor, you're starting this time.
I can't think of a single disc golfer right now. I'm so nervous. I can't think of anybody. All right.
All right.
Pulled the rankings.
What?
Haven't pulled the rankings.
No.
No,
That's
cheating.
cheating.
Yeah, then you just read
All
down
right.
a list.
Do you want to just completely start from scratch again, or do you want to?
Yeah, let's go from scratch
Start from
again.
scratch.
I'm going to lose.
You
'cause
start.
I'm already telling
I
you
want
right
to see
now
you like
You start.
freak
I can't
out on a
think
name
of
again. It's
I
so
can't think
funny.
of a
Give him-
single
give
person.
him-
Just-
Give him 5. Give him 5 seconds,
Okay.
and give me 3.
Okay.
I feel like
Ready?
an idiot.
You start.
Go.
Anyone?
Think of I'm dying right now.
Oh my God, bro!
We already said Paul
No,
McBeth.
we said we're starting
we're
from
starting from
scratch.
scratch.
All right, go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead. Good. Ready?
Gosh, go.
I'm ready. Paul McBeth,
Ricky Wysocki,
Broderick Smith
Will Shoestrick,
is
You lost again.
Adam Hammonds, Steve Bridster,
I don't know why.
Kyle
What's wrong
Klein,
with me? I don't
Eagle
know what
McMahon.
You call yourself a disc golf fan and you sit there at that
I'm
table.
telling you, I don't know
James
what's
Conrad.
I don't know what's wrong with me. Literally, I forgot James Conrad existed. Like
I don't know if Steve Brinster's in the field.
I don't. Yeah,
I just know he's a
I
previous
was
U.S.
confused
champion, so
whenever
I
you
just keep
said
throwing
that.
him in.
I was confused whenever you said that. I don't know what's. Whenever we played in a game like that, it's. Have you ever played the game like 5-second rule?
I mean, I played a lot of games like that. I know
Yeah,
that they
it's
break
like
your
you have like
brain.
5 seconds to name 3 like trivia things.
That's why I picked
I'm
it.
great at trivia stuff, but as soon as you put the timer on it, I'm like I can't think of 3 different spices.
I knew that one of you would break under that game, and it was funny.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect it to be me. Well, actually, I
Man,
did. Wow, I'm sorry, guys. I feel like I really disappointed everybody.
You let everyone down.
Mainly because I couldn't think of more than 2 disc golfers.
We'll all be cheering on Justin this weekend. You know,
Why is that the only name that came to my head?
I don't know.
Who's,
Wait, let's
Justin
move
playing?
on.
I don't. That's who he likes.
Let's move on.
saying. He
Justin,
started
who
going-
are we about to say?
I don't know.
Justin
He doesn't even.
Rozak's
know.
not. Is Rozak even in the field? No.
No, I was just making something up.
He
there even a Justin
surely
in the
he
field?
qualified.
Justin Rozak?
He had some good finishes.
I want to
this year.
move on. My feelings are hurt.
No, we're just gonna look up if Justin Rozak's playing USDGC.
I think I got targeted.
That's all we're
by-
gonna look at.
I got targeted by Trevor.
By who? By your brain?
By
Not being able
Trevor.
to think through disc golfers? Yeah.
No targeting.
You named 2 people out of the top 20 in the world.
He's not in the field.
He's not in the field.
I'm surprised.
He's probably going to try to Monday qualify. But USDGC, let's keep it on theme here. We are super excited. We're going to be bringing you 4 episodes of Grip Locked from the grounds at USDGC next week. Each morning, there'll be a new episode from Wednesday through Saturday to get you ready for live disc golf. We're also going to be shooting post-tournament wrap-up Saturday night. That'll be going into next week's Grip Locked as a segment. So basically, you get 5 episodes of Grip Locked straight from USDGC. Also, be on the lookout for several videos on our main channel of us on the grounds there. We're going to get to actually play the course on Saturday, so you'll get to see what it looks like when we take it down. We're going to hopefully get a practice round in with filming Brody and hopefully Paul as well. And also, we're going to do like a whole 17 challenge. There's a lot of stuff in the works, and then we're also going to drive into Charlotte a few of the days to get some extra content there. So a whole lot of stuff's going to be coming out of USDGC week. Also, Trevor's going to be putting on his interview suit and getting some player interviews for Grip Lock. So these 4 episodes of Grip Lock are going to be pretty exciting next week. And we're super stoked that they're welcoming us in with open arms and letting us come down there. You're not going to want to miss out on USDGC this year. If you haven't already, be sure to check out their pay-per-view packages. Buy it and watch it with your family, watch it with your friends. Have a bunch of people pitch in together. It's super exciting tournament. We're stoked to actually be down there and covering it. And a huge thanks to Innova and USDGC for letting us do that. And I think you're really going to enjoy the content that we're going to be putting out while we're down there. We're also probably going to do at least a live stream or 2 from, we're just going to dub it the Foundation Content House in Rock Hill. Because we got a
Hype
sick
house.
Airbnb. Maybe we'll do a hot tub live
Hot
stream.
tub live stream? I
don't know.
No,
you can't do that.
definitely not.
Maybe we'll do a hot tub live stream. I don't know.
We will get more clicks out of any live stream we've ever done, though.
It's definitely going to be one heck of a fun week. We leave Saturday. Only a few days away.
It's crazy.
Only a few days.
Only a few days. One other thing, I recently got a press release. I haven't seen this posted anywhere else, so I'm hoping that we're fine to talk about it. But, I mean, the press release came to me and didn't have a date to release to the public.
It's a
so
release to the press, so Consider it released.
Well, I double checked to like make sure I wasn't like missing a date, but I didn't see a date. So
Breaking news.
apparently, not even apparently, it's official. Apparently,
Allegedly.
Paul Ulibarri has launched the Ulibarri Leadership Institute, which is
That's
interesting.
very official sounding.
This is a quote from their press release. After over 15 years of professional competition, Paul Ulibarri has launched the Ulibarri Leadership Institute to continue growing the sport of disc golf through seminars, clinics, athlete management, coaching, corporate events, and player development. So right now on the website, it looks like they're only set up for like lessons, coaching rounds, and group events, which they're pretty reasonably priced. I think it was like $200 to $600 depending on which one you're going for.
So he's basically just doing glorified clinics right now.
Right now, but it's gonna be interesting to see what comes out of this. And
Why
I
you gotta
think,
be so negative, Trevor?
No, I'm just like,
Come on.
they just threw out a lot of fancy words and then offered glorified clinics.
well, it's interesting
like,
to see what else.
This
is
isn't the
gonna come.
PDGA.
I just
okay?
want to know
This
what
is
direction
Ulibarri.
they're headed in. Like,
Well, they
I'm
have like
curious.
athlete management and stuff like that,
Right.
But what I'm more curious is like,
There's
is
so
this-
many
is
disc
this
golfers trying to
something-
do athlete management.
I'll say, is this something that we're going to see more of? Like this, like, because Yuli's the first one I think to like brand it as more than just like, just he's a sports manager. Like he has a team behind him as well. Like there's
Yeah.
like 3 guys that are starting it with him.
He has like, you said he has like some legal guys, like some.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is the press release came from discgolf.law, which I'd never heard of. So I looked at their site.
fancy.
And it was started by an attorney and his son. And from their website, it says, we help our clients navigate the unfamiliar, intimidating, and somewhat dangerous territories of contract negotiation, brand protection and enforcement, deal structure, and even partnerships, mergers, and acquisitions.
See, I like that. I like somebody trying to do athlete management and like actually bringing in an attorney, because like if you really want to be like, there are so many, I feel like we've heard about disc golfers like throwing out the name like agent, like I'm going to be an agent for someone. Like if you really want an agent that's going to be effective, you might be able to find a guy who can negotiate a contract for you, but you're not going to be able to find it. Like you need an attorney if you want to really make sure that your contracts are correct and everything is like done
Not
the
screwing
right way. And yeah, basically that you're getting your end of the deal. Like that's the people that are real sports agents typically almost always have law background of some sort. So like, I'm glad that that's at least something they're implementing, because like I think it'd be cool to have like almost like a firm of like guys who can represent, disc golfers.
Well, that's what discgolf.law seems like.
Right. So like I think that's cool, and that's something that's been coming down the pipeline, because guess what? As the money comes in, now there's enough of a cut for a real agent to want to take, then they're going to get involved. Like
Yeah.
It's competitive. There's a very competitive landscape for athletes trying to find, or for agents trying to find athletes to represent. And if all of a sudden some news article pops up, Paul McBeth signs $10 million contract, they're like, I could take a cut of that. Like, and nobody's in this sport yet. Like that. Disc golf is basically right now just a breeding ground for all kinds of industries that are going to get involved in it as the money comes in. Like there's just like so many people that are going to, it's going to start slowly blipping on people's radars as the money gets there. And this is kind of one of those things. So it seems like they're doing a lot, this whole institute. Like it seems like they're trying to cover a lot of areas.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Well, like, so if
See
you
how
went
that
to
goes.
schedule like a coaching, or like he had private lesson,
I think we should get private lessons.
coaching round, or corporate event. And if you went to schedule it, it was like through a calendar thing, and you could like pick your day of the week through. It was like started at the end of October, November,
You have
and on.
to go to them.
I don't know.
I was going to say, because if we get Yuli out here to give me a private lesson, that'd be pretty funny.
That would be very
He
interesting.
probably wouldn't want you to film it though.
No, he wouldn't.
No, I don't
Because that
care.
would kinda-
I don't want it filmed. Like,
Oh, it just would be funny, like just you and him there, just be funny.
yeah.
They'd
I
be
feel like it'd be a
laughing.
good
They'd
time.
be laughing.
Yeah, we'd be in the car up the road waiting for Trevor to be done, but they'd be having a great time.
How much did he
laughing.
charge for a private lesson?
$200.
You definitely have to go to him. He's not
But it's a
traveling for
$200. It's
Yeah.
also $200 for a coaching round. So I don't know how long a private lesson is.
A
But
lot of times,
That'd be
yeah,
fun.
that's kind of how golf lessons work. Like a lot of times they
a coaching round, just throw a bunch of extra shots, make it last
Yeah.
longer. Milk it for what it's worth.
I don't $200. Here's the thing about disc golf lessons that's tricky is when you get a golf lesson and you pay a lot of money for golf lessons. Like $200, it gets a lot more expensive than that. But the thing is, you're getting access typically to a ton of technology. If you're at a good course, like they'll have all these different, shot tracers and like training aids, and like you're paying to use a lot of things that like are. It's almost like a guarantee your game's going to get at least a little bit better, because there's just objective things that you can be proven by this technology. Whereas disc golf, you're basically paying that $200 for professional knowledge, And like it's tough to have like you're probably gonna learn things you didn't know, but it's tough to have that guarantee that your game is going to get better.
Well, it seemed like that was more geared towards beginner players more so.
As a
And then,
beginner, yes.
The more advanced players is where some of like the player development, athlete management, and stuff like that comes in.
Because that's the thing. Because like in golf too, like that is the reason why great professional players still have coaches, is because of all the technology and things that like. It's worthwhile for them not like having somebody who might not even be as good as them teach them, because they can show them things about their swing and whatnot. Whereas in disc golf, if you're better than somebody, like they're really not gonna be able to teach you anything. I don't think so. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely gonna be something to keep an eye on. I don't know when the like official announcement is coming out.
It seems very time consuming for him. I wonder.
Well, it seems like he's basically, from what I understood, is it seemed like a lot of the like athlete management stuff like that was gonna be head up by the guys at Disc Golf Law, the attorney and his son. It seemed like they were going to handle more of that. And so in my eyes, it's more of a like, when a coaching thing's scheduled, Uli shows up and does that side. And like he can be there for like, being a mentor or whatever to younger players. But like on the back end stuff, a lot of like all the contract negotiations, stuff like that wasn't going to be handled by him.
I'll tell you this much. I do want a hoodie that says Ulibarri Leadership Institute. That's a cool name.
A pretty sweet hoodie.
Yeah,
And it's
I do.
Uli, ULI.
Yeah.
Ulibarri.
That's
That's
his
why they
nickname.
did it. I was like, there's something to that name. They didn't just choose Leadership Institute.
Uli.
It's Uli. I'm an idiot. I want the merch, so drop a link.
True, because I guess the phrase Leadership Institute doesn't really have a whole lot to do with
Kind of
what
sounds like a
it's about.
school.
No, like
It sounds like he's training people to train people.
yeah, right. That's what
know what I
Leadership Institute would sound like to me as well.
Maybe that's another
it's
goal.
worth it.
Maybe he's going to train coaches.
I mean, it's worth it just for the.
I would
abbreviation,
I would
Uli.
honestly, and I don't think disc golf is really there right now to like have like a ton of coaches, and like I think right now like kind of just pros doing one-off clinics and stuff like that is fine, but like it would be cool someday to have a structure in place, like a school of sort, or a trial / school similar to Q school, where like you can get like certified as a coach basically by like these things about the game and you're this good because you did a trial, then you're certified. Like that'd be a pretty simple thing. There's something the PDGA could do with their time. Like just create. It's another thing they could just create and then not pay attention to. So they love those, but just create a standard for that, and then like it would encourage people to want to become a certified coach and then do clinics, because like that's something that you could basically have. It's like the whole idea of having a tour card. It's basically like validating you, so like people would want to get a clinic from you if you're a certified coach. Like they know you're at least this good.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move.
Just throwing it out there.
Final thing I wanted to look at
Spitballing.
Just
was kind of like the end of the year UDisc World Rankings, because I think it's kind of interesting.
Not the end of the year yet, buddy.
Well, end of the regular season. On the MPO side,
We're in the playoffs now. That's an interesting thing. Wouldn't it be cool if it'd be cool if the Pro Tour did like kind of like the FedEx Cup, where they do like playoffs. Like the last few events are considered like the playoff events, and they slowly narrow down the field. Like that's how the FedEx Cup, for those of you who don't know, they start with like their full field essentially. I'm not sure exactly how many people are in that field, Brody. And when they start the playoffs,
Like, 70, I think, and then it goes.
Yeah,
First one's like
it's 120, I think.
70 for the Northern Trust, and the Tour Championships. Like
Yeah.
32.
So they section off a certain amount of events, and they start with a bunch of people that are qualified, and then they slowly narrow down the field, slowly, until you have the Tour Championship, which is kind of like the Tour finale. I think that'd be a cool thing for the Pro Tour to do. And now they have all these national tour events to chuck around. Maybe they can throw them in there. I don't know.
yeah. So we have kind of ending the year, Ricky and Eagle 1 and 2. They have Ricky 1, Eagle 2. I think they're kind of interchangeable in my mind. We'll see what happens at USDGC. Paul 3rd.
I don't think Ricky loses a lot of clout after that 50-foot putt. That may just knock him down to like 10th in my rankings. That's bad.
Paul 3rd, Calvin Heimberg 4th, Dickerson 5th, Adam Ham is 6th, Kyle Klein, I feel like we haven't heard that name in a while,
Kyle Klein?
7th, Andrew Marweed 8th, Matty O 9th, Kevin Jones 10th, and Mason Ford jumped up 30 spots after his win at the national tour to 11th place in the world right now.
That's a bit steep, I feel like.
Then we have Sexton 12th, Vino McKella 13th, Kale LaVisca 14th, and rounding out the top 15.
How is Sexton clinging
James
to 12th?
Conrad.
when he's
Because
not
you got to remember
playing.
the dominance index.
I know, but I don't like. So wait, can nobody jump him because nobody's beating him?
No,
right
people
now?
can jump him, but
it's harder because
he's
going to
stay
right
at
now?
15.04 right now.
Yeah, he can't get beat.
He can't get beat. But
That's interesting.
Kyle Klein went up one because someone dropped.
Is he playing
Matty
US
dropped.
even?
Kyle Klein?
No, Nate Sexton.
Nate Sexton is playing USDGC.
Okay.
Now let's switch to FPO because here's the interesting thing. FPO, we have Krishna Tatar, number 1 player in the world.
Yeah.
Evelina Salonen, number 2 player in the world. Paige Pierce is right now the number 3 FPO player in the world.
Stinks. So
Haley King is up to number 4 in the world, and then you have Henna
Haley King.
Blomroos, and then Katrina Allen is sitting at 6th in the world right now.
yeah, Haley King is definitely on the up and up trend.
No,
right now.
yeah.
I'm
Haley
starting to
King's
get.
in
I'm
there.
starting to. Haley King. I gotta say, I was I started out on the hype train last year. I cooled off big time this year, and I'm like in the station about ready to hand my ticket over and get back on the hype train because she's starting to get confidence and looking incredibly dangerous again. So just know that's where I'm at. I'm at
Good
the
to know.
railroad.
I'm glad. Yeah, thank you for
He's at the
letting us know.
Amtrak station,
No,
ready to
it's a
ready to
steam
get aboard.
engine.
It's a steam engine.
And it's a freight train actually.
All right, he's about to hop on a World
And
War
it's gonna
II steam
it's
engine.
gonna run over the rest of the MPO or the FPO field.
All right.
Final thing I wanted to bring up as we wrap up the show. No make that call this week. I want to touch on college disc golf. The season is officially underway. We had last week the battle at the Mesa and the Great Lakes Collegiate Open, but here we are trying to do coverage for college disc golf.
Trying to help them out, man.
Wanting to provide
Trying to
media.
get
We
back to
talked
our
about
roots.
it. We talked about wanting to do media for a long time. Neither of them had the results in. So I can't even tell you who won, who actually showed up day of. I don't know.
Imagine they let us in as an alumni team into Dean's Cup. Just the 3 of us.
That'd be awesome.
One of us plays on our own for the alternate side.
Oh, that's so funny.
One team who did. Let's clap it up for Minnesota. They put the results
Come
in.
on.
Good job, Minnesota.
Go
They put
Minnesota.
their
you
results
do it.
in so we can actually talk about them.
Go
Thank
Gophers.
You. Thank you, Minnesota. And not only did they put it down, but put it in. Minnesota took it down. Minnesota took the tournament down. The Minnesota Collegiate Showdown, led by Eli Swanson. So that's the
I've
first.
always been a huge Eli fan.
Yeah, big Eli guy. That's the first collegiate disc golf result we had to report on this year. Minnesota is looking dirty, apparently.
They're looking dirty. I don't think they're at Dean's Cup. If the Dean's Cup winner's in town, like a day that we're still there, like we should try to challenge them for one of our videos. Like challenge the Dean's Cup winners
That's so funny.
to a match.
The only time we could do it is Saturday because they'll win Saturday morning, and we'd have to immediately play them Saturday. Or are you saying like when they get back?
Wait, no, yeah, is that possible? Can we play them on Saturday?
Well, but then we'd miss the final day of USDGC.
Oh, they play. That's right. They played during the event. They just played in
Yeah.
the morning. That's right. I forgot about that. I did it once. I just forgot. You're right. Never mind. Forget
Coming
it.
up though, we have the.
We could see if we could beat their score.
But we'd have to
Well,
again.
yeah,
That's
we
just a
can't-
normal round.
We're
though.
leaving Saturday night.
Yeah, we can't play
You're right.
We have to
that course
again
again.
play.
I'm sorry.
We'd have to stay for Spectators Day.
I
Yeah.
apologize.
Come on, man. Get your head in the game.
Coming up this upcoming weekend, we have the Appalachian State Mountaineer Mash, the Brave the Midwest,
Mash with an E.
and Mashy Mountaineer Mache.
Mash
And we have the Northern Colorado Collegiate Qualifier. So if you're listening, you're the TD of those events, please be sure to next week put the results in so we can talk about and maybe come out with our collegiate power ranking at some point soon. But college disc golf, we're going to cover it this year. Hopefully you find it entertaining as we kind of go through. We're also going to be doing some media surrounding Dean's Cup because that's also happening next week. Dean's Cup's one of my all-time favorite college disc golf events.
It's fun. I think there's only 4 teams
They
this
invite
year.
4 teams every year. And they go...
Pretty sure it was 8 teams.
You're crazy. It's always been 4. They go 1v4, 2v3, and then they flip. You play for third place and you play for first place. It's basically how it always has went. So super exciting thing though. We'll be covering not just Kick Trevor's Table. We'll be covering Dean's Cup next week some, and probably get the interview with the winner. I think that could be a pretty entertaining interview, considering we're just going to unleash Trevor on the players. I mean, you saw his attitude to the PDGA.
Like a virus.
We'll see.
Let's not forget the bet.
We
that
can't forget the
we
Patreon
made.
bet.
Yeah.
I
Trevor
don't.
and
I
Nico.
lose.
Talk about that
I
on
lose
here?
a lot of sleep thinking about how I'm going to phrase that question to Mr. LeCastro.
I think we can talk about it. Trevor, basically, we set a bet on the Bogey Bro banter, which we're about to hop into here in a minute. If you're not a Patreon, $5 a month gets you access to 4 bonus podcasts, the Bogey Bro banner, one each week, plus the archives of all the Bogey Bro banners we've done, as well as one exclusive video per month. And there's a whole list of other benefits, including Discord perks and stuff like that. You can head over to patreon.com/Foundation Disc Golf to check it out. All that to say, on one of the Bogey Bro banners, we were trying to come up with different things that could happen at USDGC, because we've been talking about this over there for a while. And one of the things is, since Trevor's doing player interviews,
and Trevor is obsessed with Nico. Trevor guessed
More
Nico's favorite
is probably
color.
the word.
All right, fascinated.
Fascinated with
Yeah.
Nico. Trevor guessed Nico's favorite color. I don't remember what the bet ended up
Green.
being.
Oh,
You said
the bet is if I lose the bet, you guys can put up a championship banner saying anything in the warehouse. Like, you can have the championship banner say like whatever you want.
And
So-
what happens if you win the bet?
I don't remember. I don't
Then
even.
he gets a championship banner that says Trevor Staub champion, guess Nico LeCastro's favorite color.
I think that was it.
Okay, so basically that's what's on the line here.
Sometimes I just like to self-destruct. Apparently, it's like, what kind of bet was that, Trevor?
That's apparently what's on the line. So he's going to be asking Nico what his favorite color is.
I just gotta really hope that he has a good round. At least, like, I'm gonna have to pick my
Part of me
interview
wants
with
to
him.
go
Dude, it
bribe
might be
him.
like getting in the cage with a lion.
No, I've already thought about bribing him.
No, I wanted to.
So
Part of me wants
you're
to.
gonna
like,
have to pay him more than me.
during his practice round, be like, hey man, look, someone from Foundation, his name's Trevor. He's gonna
You're
come up
not
and
gonna do
interview
that,
you.
dude.
When he asks you your favorite color, just go off on him.
No.
Just start cursing him out, yell at him.
That would make me really sad.
Just go off on him.
It would be one of the greatest joys of my whole
I was
life
like,
to have to
immediately-
make a video to where I have to bleep out every other word that Nico's
That would
saying
make
while
me
he's
really
talking to
sad.
Trevor.
Immediately after,
If
you
you-
can like laugh with him and like tell him it's a
If
joke.
you want,
But like, I
if
just
you
need
want
you
me
to just
to
fly off
cry
the handle on
and
him.
probably never talk to you again, then go ahead.
Just
and do
imagine
that.
how
Could you
funny that'd be. If
imagine-
Trevor's like interviewing, was like, so Nico, last question, what's your favorite color? He's like, what the kind of question is that, Trevor? Just
I'm
like
gonna have-
yells
It goes
at
off like you have to beep every other word, and then Trevor starts crying.
Trevor's just standing there.
He's just like,
I'm gonna have to feel the room and just like, hopefully he has one round where he just pops off and is in a really good mood anyways, and then hopefully I just ask him really good questions, kind of soften him up, and then be like, hey man, also one last thing, have this little bet going on. What's your favorite color? And he's gonna be like, it's green, and I'm gonna be like, I know it is because I know you, and that's gonna be it. And we're gonna be best friends.
he's gonna say fuchsia.
I mean, like the odds.
gonna be yellow.
The odds are very much against me. Like I basically
so many
got one
colors
in a
in the world,
billion
you know?
chance. Yeah.
It's gonna be amber because it's the color of your energy.
Whoa. All right, that's going to wrap up this week's show. Hopefully you enjoyed. Don't forget, we'll be going, the first episode of USDGC Week, Grip Locked, will be going live Wednesday morning, different time than normal. Wednesday morning will be our USDGC preview show, and then Thursday morning, Friday morning, Saturday morning, Grip Locked, Grip Locked, Grip Locked. Hopefully you like the show,
Neon
because if
17's
not,
key grip locked.
nice. We'll talk to you all next week.
I didn't think it was that bad.